Hello, I'm Jeanette Barnes and I'm in my Hackney Wick studio in East London and it's the 25th of May. This is a digital print actually because I haven't got enough space to put everything up. But this is a digital print of King's Cross Station because I'm a little bit obsessed by stations and all my work is kind of very large in general. All my kind of finished drawings, they're all 7 foot by 5 foot or something like that. Is it 150 by 220 centimetres. And this is just one of the digital prints that I make, because people can't have massive big, don't sometimes have massive big walls to put them on. But it's just saying how kind of like involved I am with kind of stations, and I love working with stations and working outside because anybody can go into them. You get a lot of different types of people going on journeys, and that's one of the things that I really like. At the minute, I'm working, this is just the start, I'm working on a drawing of King's Cross Station, outside King's Cross Station, and St Pancras Station, so between the two kind of stations. And I came out, not so long ago, I came out of the station the other day and I saw that they had this new kind of development, this construction development. I love working on construction, so as soon as I saw that, I've been thinking about doing something outside for a while, but my head went a little bit buzzy and I decided to actually work at King's Cross. When I go out and I do a lot of kind of like sketches on location, so these are some of these are some of the sketches that I've made of this particular place, and I go out and I do a lot of these from lots of different kind of like angles and at lots of different times during the day, and I try to bring them together. Although it seems like you're looking at one particular spot, it's actually quite a lot of different kind of like spots coming together, different kind of like angles and different kind of ways of looking at things. So I don't know what's going to happen with this yet. I don't know which bit's going to get darker, which is going to be lighter, which I'm going to rub out. But it's quite interesting to allow myself to play around with it. And fortunately, I think I'm doing that a lot more now. I'm allowing things to kind of grow really and change. And I suppose what I really like to do is surprise myself. And see what scale I can play with, see what kind of positions I can play with. So, yeah, so there we go. And when I've done all my sketches, I do masses of sketches. I make these little things, which are plans. And I've got one here, that was another drawing, but they're all, I try and make these really quite lively, they don't take me too long. I get all my sketches out on the floor and I try to make little plans of these. And I'm also a tutor, so this is what I get my students to do all the time, make a lot of kind of plans. So here are my drawings, and they're made from, these are made from compressed charcoal, which is a little bit harder than ordinary charcoal. I do use that quite a bit, but it's harder to rub out, so it leaves more of a kind of like layer of something underneath. So it's kind of like once you put more things on top of it, it makes it a little bit more kind of kinetic in some kind of way. And this is Blackfriars Station. So and this is the new development that's happening. I think it's Bankside Yards, and this is one Blackfriars behind it. So what I wanted to do, a massive big glass building behind it, a big tower block. So I wanted to have a little look at, play around with kind of like space and what I'm interested in, focusing on certain things that I'm interested in. And I love making people as well, I love drawing people. But it's about taking the layers out so that you're not kind of like looking at personalities in a way. These are a part of the whole thing. As in cities, you don't just see kind of like individual people, you just don't see characters, you see people moving around. And these over here are my prints, and I do a lot of what's called monotype printing, which is kind of like painting on I paint on a metal surface, and you either paint on it and a roll on it, you take out information or add information, then you put a damp piece of paper on it, and you put it through a big press. So sometimes I'll be doing architecture things, well, most of the time I'll be doing architecture things, but especially during lockdown, I was really got intrigued about that. I don't know about you, but I was watching a lot of films, so these are things from the television and kind of like films and things like that. Anything that moves, so these are boxes, and down here these are horses, anything that move, whether it's cities, cranes, anything that's not still, I really like to actually put in my work, really. So there's kind of like different kind of like ways of looking at it, and I've been doing a lot of drawing from a battery power station, and these are some of the sketches. I've been a bit kind of obsessed by the cocktail bar in there, so I've been doing a lot of drawings on location at there, and it's a massive big space, and my kind of problem is trying to stop it from just being a box. It's quite box-like in a way, so where you kind of like put your emphasis on things in the big drawing. So I'm kind of that. So there's just tons and tons of just kind of slightly different information that's there that comes at different times. Sometimes it can be over a couple of years, really, kind of like going around looking at things. I tend to haunt places quite a bit. So sometimes it's just kind of like mechanisms. I love mechanisms. None of my sketches are ever completely finished, because I don't see the point in doing one beautiful sketch and then just blowing it up for a big drawing. But yeah. These are slightly different as well. These are, I call them drawing paintings. So I did a lot of these during lockdown because I couldn't actually go anywhere. And one of the things I really like is obviously going in London, but going around to different big cities in the world, like New York or Shanghai or Hong Kong, and actually doing the same kind of thing, taking a board, sketching and bringing back the information. But I couldn't do it. So these are I did a section starting in lockdown, very small journeys. These are all called fractured journeys. So they're kind of like very short journeys that keep repeating. And this was at Canning Town. I used to go over to Canning Town quite a bit. And you can see underneath that I've actually kind of like, I just draw on it with a marker pen, a Sharpie pen. And then I get some white paint and I paint out bits. And then I put more kind of like more pen on top of it. But it's like every day or every few days, you have a different kind of idea of this journey. Sometimes you'll be looking at this, sometimes you look at that. So there can be many different ways, and I wanted the people to actually come back, and you might have to stare quite a bit to see whether the train's actually kind of like coming out. Okay, so this is a print of Belfry Tower, and there's two pieces of paper next together. It's two prints. The one on the right is my first print, my first monotype. You see how dark it is. You can see how strong it is. The second one on this side, it starts off being the ghost print of the one on the right. You can see how kind of grey it is. And then I'll paint on that plate. I'll paint on something else. So this is that kind of like ruin on there. I painted that on a plate and kind of put it through. So they're kind of like residues, ideas of something that's gone before. It's like, these are called Eastern Echoes. And I won the Trinity Boy War Drawing Prize, and I with the money, I went to Hong Kong. And when I'm doing my drawings, it's always from sketches. I look at photographs a little bit, but it's mainly sketches. But when I'm doing my prints, I use a lot of photographs. So when you're working from photographs, you've got to see whether you can kind of get kind of additional ideas so it doesn't look too kind of like still in a way, to all the details being exact. So this is one of the first prints that I did. I put my black paint on the plate, and I took little bits out. I put some kind of like terps on top of it, move things around. So that was the first print. This is the second print, and you'll see underneath you've got the kind of like residual grey, the echo of the first print. And then I've started kind of like painting on different kinds of things. So I think this is here, and that's in the background. But these are kind of like new. So it's kind of like rethinking your information. So I can give it a little bit, sometimes it's about space. Sometimes it's about what you kind of like remember at different times. And I think that's the third one. So this is really, really light. So that's gone, the first background has gone so light. And then this is the third print on it.